The domestic violence situation in New South Wales is an emergency. There's no other way to describe it.
And that's the thing with domestic violence, is it's kind of society's dirty little secret. People don't talk about it.
But I would say one of the really core needs is to be able to move their things very quickly. And as far as I'm aware, there isn't really a service or a program in New South Wales that coordinates that kind of stuff.
64 women around Australia have died this year as a result of domestic violence. The issue is now being labelled as an epidemic, but for hundreds of women, it's a reality they face every day. What we are witnessing is the ongoing consequence of a deep inequity in our society, where men feel they have the right to enact psychological, emotional, financial, sexual, and physical abuse against women. The Australian government is attempting to rectify the problem, with Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull announcing a $100 million package to combat domestic violence. The multi-million dollar package includes funds to improve frontline services and training for frontline workers, as well as new technologies to keep women safe, such as CCTV cameras within homes. While a new national approach is being initiated, each state has an existing set of services in place to provide support. One such service is Domestic Violence New South Wales, headed by Baulch.
1 in 3 women experiences violence in their adult relationship or in an adult relationship, intimate partnership. We also know there are 1 million children in Australia growing up in violent or abusive households, and that obviously is a really scary statistic. We know that violence it goes across all socio-demographics, so it's definitely not confined to one, culture or one geographical area. We know that the spread across New South Wales and across Australia fits into all, classes, cultures, races, religious beliefs. And we also know, I think, now that the solutions have to come from communities. So it really is about everybody has a part in in changing attitudes and responding to this. It's not just a police problem, it's not just a private domestic thing that happens behind closed doors. It's really something that we need to be doing as a country and as a nation, to be having conversations around this.
Crisis accommodation is also a huge problem for women who want to leave abusive relationships, as a spot in a shelter cannot always be guaranteed. Annabelle Daniel, CEO of Women's Community Shelters New South Wales, knows all too well how difficult it is to secure a place to stay.
Women's shelters do an incredible role in supporting women to get back on their feet. And some of the most important things that women's shelters do are things that people might not even imagine. A lot of people don't understand what women's shelters do. They think it might just be a safe place or a bed or some food to keep them going. But the very best women's shelters connect women to doctors and medical professionals. They get them legal supports and advocacy for court appearances or family law matters. They will provide them immigration support and help them sort through visa issues. They will provide them with case planning. They'll help them find sustainable housing. They'll help them navigate the myriad of government departments like Centrelink, Medicare, Housing New South Wales. All of those kinds of things in a real approach that's tailored to the individual woman. Predominantly and sadly, what happens is that if women are turned away from shelters, they'll remain in an abusive relationship. And that's just not something that we can accept in Australia.
So far, Australia has recognised the problem of domestic violence and the need for crisis accommodation for those fleeing, but has failed to identify one huge problem. Little consideration has been given to the physical and financial side of leaving home. Many women struggle with escaping their homes and choose to leave their belongings behind in favour of a swift exit. With this in mind, we look to a moving company in California in the United States, who have become pioneers in helping to solve this problem. Meathead Movers offers a unique service for women attempting to remove themselves from domestic violence.
Co-founders, Aaron and Evan, are brothers, and they needed a way to make money in high school, and Evan was a sophomore, Aaron was a senior. In just a couple years after they started helping people move in the area, like I said, they got their first truck, realized that this was an actual viable business. They started to become a little bit more official, still though standing by the values of hiring local student athletes to help them work their way through college. They started getting desperate phone calls from women in the area needing to get out of situations as right away. usually that same day. And since they were still small enough, they were able to help those women out. And they would often say, oh, I'll take whatever you want in exchange for getting me out. We just need to get out. And of course they said, we're not going to take what little you have. This is a big thing for us right now. But we will continue offering these services. And so, it's not just right now, it's not a publicity thing. It's something that's always been, it's part of our mission statement for the company and has been ever since we began doing these services. If people want to help with something like this, they don't have to start a whole new organization. This is, really for established organizations, whether it's moving companies or other businesses, they can help. They can make a difference. And that's what's really, we want to move this from just awareness to actually doing something to make a change.
While there are still loopholes in Australia's domestic violence strategy, we are definitely taking steps in the right direction. What's important is that we continue to support women in abusive relationships. Amy Reid, USyd News.